Hello and welcome to week 23. We're going to look at different types of schools and schools' aims and values this week. So here are the questions for this week. 5.1.1 Identify the main types of state schools, independent schools and colleges. And 5.1.2 Describe the characteristics of different types of schools in relation to their educational opportunities. Okay, we'll have a look at what that means in a minute. So these two questions are going together in the first worksheet. And then we've got two more questions here. 5.3.1, look, an explain question. Explain why schools have aims and values. And then 5.3.2, describe how schools and colleges maintain their aims and values. These two questions are going to go together. You're going to make a poster to answer this one. So let's have a look. Here we are. The first worksheet for this week is the two questions on types of school. So if you click on this worksheet and have a look, here it is. The first page of the worksheet is what you have to do. That's got the two questions on it. The second page of the worksheet is optional. If you don't know this information, you ought to find it out. If you already know it, you can just delete that section. Don't even hand it in to me. Okay, let's have a look and see what the two questions are asking you. So 5.1.1, identify the main types of state schools, independent schools and colleges. And because I am so kind, I've done this one for you. Here are the main types of schools in the left-hand column here that I would like you to look at. I've given you state and community schools, academies, faith schools, grammar schools, special schools, independent or private schools, and colleges, FE colleges or schools sixth form college. And as a stretch and challenge, you could choose one of these: forest school, preschool provision before they even get to primary school, free schools, or even international schools. So pick an extra one, write it in here and answer the questions. So what have you got to do? You need to say, the first thing you need to do then is to describe the school. Who is it for? Is it mainstream children or special needs children? What ages does it cover? Is it for 4-year-olds to 11-year-olds? Is it for secondary? Is it for 16 to 19-year-olds? Who runs it? Is it run by the government, the local authority? Is it private? Who pays for it? Do parents pay, or is it free? And who inspects it? Nearly all of these are inspected by Ofsted. And then this column is quite interesting. It asks you what are the educational opportunities of this school. This means kind of what are the benefits or what are the differences between the school you're describing and other ones in the list. So look, I've done the first one for you. I've done state or community schools. And I've said these schools covers ages 4 to 10. That's not right. These schools cover ages 4 to 19 and are funded and run by the local authority. They all have a board of governors to support the head and are inspected by Ofsted. And then to answer the opportunities, I went and looked in the Louise Burnham textbook, and she said that these community schools are provided in the local area and all children are entitled to a place. So I thought that was a good benefit. They're open to everybody, these types of school. So I've answered this question by putting in a quote. You can do that as well. So then you've got to fill in the other ones. Academies, quite similar to state and community schools, but they're not run by the local authority. They get their money direct from government. What are the benefits of that, or how are they different? Faith schools are run by a local community church or mosque. Grammar schools, you have to do an 11+ exam to get into a grammar school. Special schools, specifically for children with special needs. Independent or private schools, parents have to pay to get their children in there. They're not funded by the government. You have to pay to get in. Colleges, would you, for a 16 to 19-year-old, would they go to an FE college like City of Bristol College or a school sixth form? What are the differences? Who goes to them? What are the differences? And then you could choose one more. So where are you going to find your answers? Let's go back to Moodle and have a look. So I've given you two different places. I've scanned some of the Louise Burnham chapter, pages 4 to 9, and that tells you about the different schools and what opportunities they offer. And I've also given you a link to the government website that describes different sorts of schools. Doesn't give you all of the ones that you need here, but does give you some different information. So fill that one in and you're going to decide whether you need to do the second page or not. The second page is asking you about the national curriculum. You might need to do this page first if you really don't know the answers. If you click on this link, it'll define the term national curriculum for you. And then it'll give you the different key stages. Do you know who's in the EYFS? What age are the children? What sort of school would they be in? And how are they assessed? Have they got SATs? Have they got a baseline assessment? If you don't know the answers to these, it might be a good idea to fill those in as well. And a bit of stretch and challenge down here. What are the 7 areas of learning and development in the EYFS? There's 3 prime areas and 4 specific areas. Click on that link to find out. And what subjects are taught in primary schools? There are up to 14 different subjects. Can you list all the subjects? You don't have to do this page at all. It's not part of the question, but I thought it would be good information. It will actually help you with this box here. What age do the different schools cover? Okay, let's have a look at your second question. For the second activity, I would like you to try and make a poster. If you're really struggling with that, you could just give me 5 paragraphs in a Word document. You'll see, follow the poster, but you don't need to do that if you don't want to challenge your IT skills. So let's click on this, aims and values, and have a look. So I've done you an outline of a poster. Your poster can be like this, just one side of A4. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. Try and do it as a poster and put pictures in. If that's too much difficulty, just write 5 sections. So let's zoom in on this and have a look. Okay, so 5.3.1, explain why schools have aims and values. And 5.3.2, this one's explain. You've got to say why. Describe, for this one, how schools and colleges maintain their aims and values. It's kind of, they've written their aims and values on the school website. How do they do it for real? You need to give me some examples of how they do it in a school. So the first box, I think you need to define the 2 words aims and values, but we're not talking about aim in terms of someone firing an arrow at a target. We're not doing archery here. You've got to do it in terms of a school setting. And if you do it, it'll help you to explain why schools write them. You could put in a quote from your school website. That would help you. I've done 2 possible answers here. I've put a quote from Louise Burnham. She states, schools and colleges have aims and values to give pupils, parents, and all who have contact with them clear ideas about their purpose and identity. So if you put in a quote and then add a couple of sentences to explain in your own words, that would answer this question. That would answer 5.3.1. Or you could go to your school website. I went to Hannah More Primary School and they have a parent guide to their values. Lots of schools use aims and values together as if they were one thing. That's fine for this question. And it says here, our values help us to decide how we teach and help children to learn and grow. They help us to treat each other with respect and to learn from one another. They help us to succeed as part of our school community. Well, that quote has answered the question. If you can find a nice quote from your school website and then just add a couple of sentences in your own words to say what you think, that will answer the question. Don't forget to P. You've got to use because, as a result, in order to. And then to answer the second question, they want to know, well, the school wrote all of this on their website. How do they do it in practice? How do they maintain these aims and values in everyday life? So I went back to Hannah More again, and I found that for their values, I think they've got about 6 different words, and I just chose 4 of them. I'd just like you to give me 4 examples. So I chose determination, nurture, enjoyment, and respect. And I'm going to try and give an example for each one of those values. So I've done determination here, and it said on the website, determination, the ability that all members of the school community demonstrate to stick at it. And next to it, there was a nice photo of 2 children doing PE. And I have used that example and I've said, in all lessons, children are encouraged not to give up and to try and beat their personal best. In PE, children are working to complete a list of skills and earn stars. As a result, they are more determined not to stop until they fill their star chart. So what I would like you to do, you'll have to delete this one, the determination one, because that came from Hannah More and you need to put in 4 of your own. So get 4 values or 4 aims from your school website, maybe a little quote like there is here. Put in a picture, copy and paste a picture, and then underneath the picture, please can you explain? I've just done it in 2 sentences. I've given an example of how it works at this school. And that's the end of your answer. You will have shown how these different things work in practice. Let's go back to Moodle and see what else you can use. Okay, so you really have to use a school website. You could use your own school website, or if you can't really find their aims and values, you could go to Hannah More, or Bannerman Road is good as well. It doesn't say of your own school, it just says how do schools do it. So you can use any school here. Hannah More would be a really good example if your school is not very clear. So please fill in the 2 worksheets, this one on different types of school, and this one, make a poster or just write 5 paragraphs that meet the 2 questions for the aims and values one. Do your best and send them to me.